Okay, can we start recording? Hi everybody, amazing opportunity.
Sometimes we don't know who we are. Are we broken? Are we scarred? Can you find a way to fix me? I try a little more every day, but nothing seems to numb the pain. Can you find a way to heal me? Happy isn't perfect at all. The journey will be worth it, I know. I'm breaking down, honestly. Why is it so hard for me? Take a breath and wash it all away. There's a reason I am who I am, and a reason I've lived through and through. I've got thick skin, you can't break in. What don't kill you can make you. I won't let it break you again. Someday we'll find out who we are, heal our broken scars, shine again, believe me. I grow a little more every day, feel my strength melts the pain. Everyone can see me, there's a reason I am who I am, and a reason I've lived through and through. I've got thick skin, you can't break in. What don't kill you can make you. I won't let it break you again. What don't kill you can make you. I won't let it break Don't let it break you again. Don't let it break you again.
Bravo, Miriam, that's an amazing song. It's so healing. I want to bless you to continue to use your incredible voice to change the world for the better and to help everyone heal. So I'm so happy we're here all together on Zoom. Anyone who wants to join can look above and see the link. I am really looking forward to today, where we can really start to understand what we can do to heal ourselves, what we can do to be our own CBTT, cognitive behavioral Torah teachings, if you want to say it, Torah tools, if you want to say it, and even Torah therapy, if you want to say. And it's been a journey. I've been a counselor for 33 years. As soon as I started teaching and learning and delving deeply into the Hasidic teachings, it was like that aha moment where it was just like, oh my gosh, this is it. This is what's going to really help me help people. And I started using these techniques, if you want to call it, tools from the Torah, and applied the teachings as a modality likened to cognitive behavioral Torah therapy. And I cannot begin to tell you how it has been, revolutionary. For many, very quick transformations. For some, they don't necessarily believe that it could really work, so they don't really do it. They don't have the strength or the courage to really apply it. They can be so down and out, and it's very hard for them to apply it. So depending on where a person is, it will depend how more expedient, the results will be. And so today I'm just going to say, if I had to say on one foot, like if someone said, what is CBTT, or what is our mission on this planet Earth, and what are the secrets of how to redeem the self, so that what goes on around us, or what has happened to us in the past won't touch that sacred space of our neshama, that won't, make it, disintegrate by what's going on around the world. I would say this, and it sounds like so super simple that your mouth will drop and actually not believe that it's that simple. So many of us here have already heard this, so we're not going to hear too much about me and what I'm doing right now in explaining this, because I really want to give time to the people that were on that beautiful flyer, thanks to Hannah and her design and her partnership in helping this CBTT thing go to the next level, and as well as Deborah, who also has been a partner with me in promoting this, because so many people are suffering. So I want to spend most of the time in the beginning hearing their stories, and then we'll get back to me. But just in case you may not be able to continue listening, I'll say it on one foot. And it comes from the paragraph of Shema. The first place of the key to the redemption of our neshama, which is the part of us that can conquer the world and not let the world conquer us, is first and foremost meditating in prayer. Shema Yisrael says, meditate on the oneness of Hashem. Gaze, think about how great He is. Think about how grateful you are to Him. Know that He's your Father. Know that He loves you. The more you gaze at Hashem's greatness, more you understand that He's the only one God and the one God that's going to be able to help you, the more v'ahavta, the more you will get to this love of Hashem. This love of Hashem then acts like a fire. This love of Hashem that gets developed in prayer acts like a fire to purify the body, the mind, and the soul. This fire acts like a koshering, is to circumcise, to get rid of the layers, to get rid of the blockages, to get rid of the traumas that may have attached to our minds and heart. Now, once the prayer is done, and once you really make a vessel and purify your body as the container of your godly soul, then the next step is to learn Torah right after and fill your heart and mind with God's wisdom. That's it. That's mainly it. And if a person, let's say, has a more fiery, anxious, angry temperament, then you might, you can design your prayer to really more develop awe and wonderment of Hashem, because that's your weakest point, that is your highest gem, that's your highest strength. So you can tailor make your CBTT technique to develop more awe and wonderment of Hashem instead of pachad and fear and anxiety and anger and arrogance. So if you have a personality that's more lustful, then you will tailor make your prayer by using more pleasure and more love of Hashem in your prayer services, because your weakness is your addictions. So you need to, instead of love things, you'll develop the love of Hashem in your prayers. Then you'll be able to engage in more holy acts and love learning and love giving charity and helping. And if you have an air element, then that air element will be used tailor-made. If you have diarrhea of the mouth, sorry to say, or you have destructive forces that are getting you in trouble in your workplace or in your family, then you'll use and tailor-made your your own remedy, as it were, to use your voice more in prayer, use your voice more in learning, and that will like harness that power of yours in a good and holy way, so you won't be as easily caught off guard and saying things that are destructive. And if you are a more depressed personality, then you'll use more of the earthy slowness, meditative, contemplative type of prayer as your, private kind of remedy. And you'll do more meditation than the average person. And you'll do more thinking about what the words are and using a slowness in your practice of your service and learning as well. So that's it. We have to open our heart. We have to make our heart ready. And we have to get rid of the blockages from the fiery type of love of Hashem and from the experience of praying and learning. Then the light of Hashem has a space to come in and shine through. Then the light of Hashem has the power to like really melt away all the blockages and all the emptiness of the struggles and the pains of everything that has maybe happened to you in your past. And I can't even begin to tell you how many people, when I don't even have time to give them a full session, and I just explain this, and I hang up, and then they do this, or an email I say, just do this remedy, and you'll see you'll feel better. And in like a day or two, they're saying, I can't believe it. I'm really having such a clear mind. I'm feeling light. I feel not as anxious. I feel not as sad. And so today, here, we're going to be hearing some of the people who have been learning these tactics and so much so want to change their life and start, helping others. And I really want to bless them, and I can't wait till you hear their stories. And then we'll go more in detail after of how personally it has affected my life. So we didn't do Facebook Zoom yet. We're still in the process of becoming very technically savvy. But in the meantime, I thought I would, do it this way. So here's the phone here. And I don't see any, is Deborah on?
Hi, I'm here.
Yes, so I don't know if they're going to be able to see you, but hopefully they'll be able to hear you.
Hello. Anna, do you want to go first?
Oh, hold on. No, I think you're going to go first, yes.
Okay, I'm going first?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Deborah Rice. I am 35 years old. I live in Linden, New Jersey. I'm married and I have 4 little kids. And thank you for watching. I want to share my story of how CBTT helped my life so much. And basically how Miriam came into my life, and give you a picture of my before and after, basically. I apologize that it's dark. I'm kind of hiding in the car from my children. So, okay, so it all started basically when I was 19. I'm not really going to go into the details of, I don't have so much time of why I started to have panic attacks. I started to have severe panic attacks at 19. If anybody wants to message me privately at the end of this, I am a CBTT SANE counselor, but if anybody wants to message me privately to know more about my personal life, I'm happy to share. But anyway, so at 19, I started to have, I got my first panic attack. I had no idea what was happening. I just remember completely blacking out and freaking out, and I was scared to death. I didn't know what to do. I was just like kind of like out of my body experience, and my parents took me to the ER, and I got evaluated by a psychiatrist, and they told me that I had a panic attack and that I have a general anxiety disorder. That's what they told me, and they told me I should follow up with a therapist and a psychiatrist and see which antidepressant is good for me. And he gave me what I like to call my special candy that I used for a little while, which was Xanax, for probably a couple of years. After that, basically Xanax was my God. Like, I carried Xanax everywhere I went. I was extremely dependent on it. I was prone to anxiety attacks. At that point, my panic attacks were basically the Xanax took the edge off, but from panic attacks, I was getting anxiety attacks. And those are a little bit less, I would say less severe, but still, if anyone has ever experienced it, it's not pleasant. And the antidepressants weren't, like, it took the edge off, but it didn't help me basically get to where I am today. So several years in my 20s, I had severe anxiety attacks. I had severe depression on and off, where I would have bouts of not being able to get out of bed, not being able to function, very sad, very hopeless, sometimes even like not wanting to actually commit suicide, but like sometimes thinking about it, like I can't take my depression and my anxiety attacks anymore, and I'm just so hopeless. And in the meantime, it's funny because, you know, I was davening here and there, maybe once in a while I would say Birchas HaShachar. I was from, you know, quote unquote from, like I'm a Balas Teshuva, but I was like from in the sense of, okay, I'm from, like I have to keep Shabbos and kosher and all that stuff. Like I didn't have a real connection to Hashem the way I have today. And I'll get into that. And I'm sorry I'm talking weird. I had a oral surgery a few days ago, so I have a little bit of a weird way of talking today. So basically, it was a rough road for me in my 20s. It was a lot of Xanax, a lot of like just one day at a time, getting through it. I would go to therapy on and off. You know, I found therapists that I liked that were sweet, but I never found anyone that I really connected to that really, I felt like really helped me. And like here and there I would come in, but I didn't feel like a really close connection to like my spirituality. I was, you know, just basically going through the motions of being a from person, you know, but I didn't feel like Hashem's closeness around me. I didn't feel like Hashem was with me all the time. I didn't feel like the siyata d'shmaya that I have today. And then at 24, it was very hard for me, but it was also the biggest blessing in my life because I had my first child, and then I hit extremely hard postpartum depression, like very hard. And that got me in bed again for a few months, and it was really hard for me. And actually at that time, I remembered Miriam Yerushalmi. I actually met her for the first time when I was like very young, like older teens, like right before, probably around 18 or something. I don't remember exactly how old I was. There was a shiur somewhere in Long Island in someone's house, and I saw her for the first time briefly in my life. I didn't really speak to her. I just heard her give a class. I was young, whatever. After I had the postpartum, I was so desperate for help. I just remembered this woman's name, Miriam Yerushalmi, and somehow, somewhere, I think it was from my relative that hosted her or something, I got her number. And I called her and I told her how much I'm suffering. And she told me a few things, like what to do, meditation and prayer and all that stuff, but I didn't take it seriously, you know? Like, whatever. I did meditate a little bit. And it did quiet my mind. It did help me. But I wasn't taking it seriously the way I should have taken it. So that's why I also say it was a bracha, because it was the first time that in that darkest moment in my life, in my despair, that Hashem loved me so much and sent me, like, call this woman Miriam. And then I got over it, and like I was busy having kids and finishing my degree and life and all that stuff. And, you know, one day I was at work. I was teaching a class. I'm a special ed teacher. I was teaching a class with children with autism, and I took my Xanax, and and it wasn't working very well. And I literally left in the middle of my work day. I literally told my supervisor, I can't finish the day. I don't feel well. And I said, I'm not going home. I had an idea that I went to this park, this beautiful park where I live in Queens. There was water and grass. And I said, I'm just going to go and like clear my mind. And I sat there and it just came to me to just talk to Hashem. Like it just came to me. I started to talk to Hashem and I'm like, Hashem, I can't take this anymore. Like, please help me. I can't live my life with this. And I remember saying, like, what is my purpose here? Why am I here? What am I? Like, what is my mission? What am I supposed to do? What do you want from me? Why am I going through all of this? And after that, it felt so good after I left. And I felt such relief, like more relief than I ever felt from meditation. And then I went home, and after that, I somehow got, I don't remember how, but I somehow found some rabbis' lectures on YouTube about Hisbodedut and talking to Hashem and prayer and all that stuff. So I started to take it seriously, and I started to do Hisbodedut, talking to Hashem every day. And as I started to talk to Hashem every day, a little bit at a time, a little bit at a time, a little bit at a time, one day, like after a while, because it's a process and it takes time, I guess Hashem decided that it's time to reveal something to me. I had a thought that I need to get in touch with Miriam Yerushalmi. And I'm not joking. Like, just came to me in my Hisbodedut that I need to talk to her. Because I was still struggling, with the depression, the on and off, the anxiety. And not only depression and anxiety, but with different midot. I was struggling with impatience, with shalom bias, with anger, like things that people struggle all the time, with certain lusts and desires, with parenting, with, just a lot of different things in my midot. And it just came to my mind that I have to connect with this woman, and I didn't know why. And I said, you know what, I'm going to go with this thought and with this intuition. And I looked her up, and I found Miriam, and I started working with her. And I can't tell you, like, how much she's changed my life. She basically guided me and told me that you have to daven from a sitter, like, every single day. It's not enough to once in a while say Birchas HaShachar. It's not enough that it's good that you're talking to Hashem. It's good that you're doing Hisbodedut, but you also have to daven from a sidur, and you have to be consistent. You have to do it every single day. It's not enough to do it once in a while. You must learn after you're davening. So you should pray, you should talk to Hashem, and learn after, meditate, quiet the mind, all that stuff. So obviously it was a process. It took me time to do everything. Like, it took time for me to adjust, to make the time in my schedule, for me to, like, take it seriously as a priority, that this is legit. Like, this is real. This is really going to help me. And at first, I've kind of did it here and there. I remember telling Miriam, today I didn't daven, and so funny, today I was not as patient when I skipped my davening. I was not the same person I was yesterday. Baruch Hashem, I could tell you now, today, every single morning, the first thing that I make sure that I do, I block off the time that I say all of Shachari, and I do my Hisbodedut. I don't rush. I don't go on my phone. I take my time, and I make it priority number one. And today, I can tell you that I don't remember the last time, Baruch Hashem, it's been years, that I've had an anxiety attack, that I fell to a depression where I couldn't function, yes, once in a while we had bad days, and we get bummed out, we have rough patches, but not like how it used to be, where I was literally, I didn't want to do anything, I didn't want to function, I was completely miserable, I was bitter. Not like that. I haven't been like that, Baruch Hashem, since I started working with Miriam. It's been like years already, and because of that, like, I found my inner purpose. Like, I decided that I want to help other people. And when Miriam approached me to be a SANE counselor, I was so thrilled. I was so honored, because I said, you know what? There's nothing more that I want to do in this world to help someone else. Because not only are we, as SANE counselors, helping other people become the best version of themselves that they can be and achieve their purpose here, but we're helping them become closer to Hashem. And that's the beauty of it. Because it's also, at the same time, like, we're helping someone reach their soul state of their neshama that they're supposed to be, the person that Hashem wants them to be here. And how do we achieve that? How do we truly achieve our purpose, who we're supposed to be here, and reach our true, menuchas nefesh, our peace of mind, have true inner clarity and happiness, is when you're connected to Hashem. And that's the beauty of CBTT. It's all through the way that Hashem wanted us to live our lives. It's through the way that God designed the Torah. And it's the true, in my opinion, it's the only way. It's the only way, because I lived it and I practiced it in my own life. And I just want to tell you, I jotted down some things besides for my anxiety and depression, that working with Miriam and, being following all the things that we're supposed to do in CBTT has helped me. It has helped me so much with certain lusts and desires, curbing it, because I'm also a water element. It's helped me to have true humility. It's helped me to reduce my ego. It's helped me to, not that I was a big egotistical person before, but even the smallest things day to day we don't realize. If you're humble, how your relationships can get better, how your day can go easier because you're sitting in traffic or someone is blocking you for 2 minutes and you're just calm and you're just sitting there. You have such menuchas hanefesh when you work on your midot. And I have more gratitude. I'm able to speak softer and in a slow voice, whereas before I wouldn't pause before I reacted. Before I would get angry much more easily. It helped my shalom bias a lot. It helped my parenting. It helped me be more patient. It's helped me be more accepting of who I am and where I am in life. And loving my fellow Jew, letting go of, resentments and grudges. Working on it, meaning I'm not a perfect malach, but day by day getting better at it. My ahavas chinam. And overall, I'm just a calmer and more graceful person. I could honestly tell you today that I feel like I have peace of mind, and I'm not saying that I got that peace of mind from Xanax or from antidepressants or from therapy, because I was there and I've been through all of that, and I struggled so many life struggles, challenges through my life, that with this spiritual method helped me, shape me, and help me become stronger one day at a time. Now, I'm not saying that I'm living in La La Land and I have no troubles and everything's perfect. But what I am saying is that my perspective changed and I have a brand new lens. So it's I always say and I actually have a YouTube channel where I help other women called Bat Malach, and I'm doing heroes and I'm fulfilling my purpose, and it makes me so happy. And I couldn't do any of this without Miriam, without this CBTT. And so I really urge you that if you have anything in your life that you want to get better in, that you want to improve in yourself, in your traits, in your midot, in your relationships, in your parenting, anything that you're struggling with that you want to work on and you want to dedicate to making it better, I really recommend with all my heart and with all my soul, in all honesty, that you try CBTT, that you look for a SANE counselor, and that you, just like how Miriam mentored me and coached me, that you also look for a mentor and a coach to hold your hand the same way that Miriam held my hand and got me through. And I always say that everything starts with our spirituality. In my mind, I have this triangle. I have S on the top, M and P. It's the spiritual affects our mental and emotional well-being and our physical well-being. So without spirituality, which is our neshama, our essence, our real selves, who we are is our soul. It's not our body. It's not it's not anything outside of ourselves. I try to numb my pain with things outside of myself too, believe me. And Miriam helped me with that too. Everything comes from the inside, and that's what CBTT does. CBTT helps us to see that in order for you to become your best potential in this world, to accomplish your true purpose and achieve true peace of mind, happiness, joy with yourself, with other people is when you first have to fix that with between you and Hashem. You get that koach and the light from Hashem, and then you're able to spread it to everybody else. And how do we do that is by doing the CBTT therapy. It's the most beautiful thing that's ever happened to me, and I even use it sometimes on my own children. So anyway, I owe so much to Miriam. She's truly a sadeket. She helps people genuinely with her own heart. She has no ulterior motives. She really glorifies Hashem's name every single day, and she's mamish a walking Kiddush Hashem.
Wow.
And I love her so much. And I hope that you guys can. I know I spoke very quickly, and we don't have so much time. But if anybody, please feel free. I'm a very open person to contact me privately. If you want to know anything, I'm here to tell you, and I'm here to share with you. And I'm also available to Bezrat Hashem if someone feels like they're ready to take on a mentor, a coach. I'm here for you, and I'll post my phone number in the chat. Okay, now I'm so excited to hear Hannah. Thank you so much, guys.
So beautiful. Oh, 1 second, I have to do this. So beautiful what you said. I'm just so forever touched that you have such an appreciation, and that you're taking everything that you gain from Hashem's Torah and the whole experience of realigning your soul like to its true core and essence, and being a trailblazer, and with your openness and your sincerity and with all of your heart's desire to do amazing work. Hashem will bless you and continue to bless you to really affect like so many more people in your own special, unique way. You have a gift of speaking, and you have a gift of words, and everyone can just really feel your soul and heart. I'm so touched. Hannah, another angel that I met through a magazine.
Hi, everybody.
Wow. I'm crying.
Yeah.
I'm just like so moved. Baruch Hashem. And all these years I've been like carrying the load myself a bit, and like I'm so happy now I have a group of people, because I'm just one person. How much one person can do? So like I'm so happy that both of you and many more on our team are learning this and sharing it with others. Without further ado, Hannah, who is the owner of Posh magazine, and she jumped saying we have to do the CBTT in another magazine, and so we're starting the magazine called the New Heights magazine upon her initiative. And she's been also not only Deborah and many others have been learning the CBTT technique and been sharing it with others. So thank you, all of you, for being angels.
I apologize. I'm a little under the weather. And so anyway, I didn't want to miss it. I didn't want to miss this, And it's just the calling of Hashem. So as Miriam was saying, the owner of Posh magazine. And so let me take this off. So there we go. So all this started because a year ago I had my son, my firstborn son. I think many of you have listened to the story and heard it. And so I went through almost dying because I had preeclampsia. But the funny thing is that preeclampsia, it was after the birth. And so there was a moment when my blood pressure went like crazy high, and I lost all consciousness and all movement. And so I remember the first thing there was a person there, a friend of my family. I told her, call my husband. That's the only thing I said. And after that, I lost consciousness and I had no movement, nothing. And so I surely saw it, I just could feel everyone working around me, and doctors, putting needles in me. And I remember at some points I was like, ow, but I couldn't react. I couldn't do anything. And so they were doing everything they could. They thought I had a stroke. It was a cold stroke. And so I remember hearing something like that between voices and things like that. And I remember praying to Hashem, and I was like, Hashem, just give me one chance. Just one more chance. I'm sorry whatever I did. Everything that I've done, I'm sorry. And I just kept saying that over and over again. And I'm sorry, so sorry, because, that just give me one more chance. I was a new mom, and I have my oldest son is special needs. He's in the autism spectrum. And I was like, I can't leave my kids. I cannot leave my kids. I have to raise them. My baby. And so I was like, it kept saying it over and over again. And so the last thing I was thinking about is whatever like the physical that I didn't have, and that was not in my mind at all. And so before this happened, my relationship with Hashem was not deep, really. I was just automatic, if you will. I did daven when I could. And I was also going through the whole process of, a parent with a child with special needs, and it was very, very intense. It was very heartbreaking. It was like a lot of going through a lot of emotional, emotions, and all the process that you go through, like the mourning part, all of it. It was like most of the time I didn't actually think of Hashem. And when I did, I was like angry. And like, how did you let this happen? How did you let this happen to me? Why do I have a child in a spectrum? Why on earth did this happen to me? Am I so bad that you let this happen to me? And so for a long time, I was like angry until unconsciously, I was like, okay, I can't be angry to Hashem. So I just put it in the back of my mind and say, no, I can't be denying it. I cannot be angry to Hashem. But I was. The truth is that I was. So I did like kind of like a child that, is angry with a parent, but it doesn't want to say it. So you really you have some kind of relationship with your parent, but you're really like, you're distant. At the same time, you're like, having somewhat relationship with your parent. I did just that. Because I just felt bad that I wanted to be away because I was angry with him. And so after what happened on the hospital, I woke up and after being I was just waking up, and I was in the ICU. I was like with so many things on me, like everything, like IVs and medication and all over the place, and doctors. And so and I woke up and I saw my husband, and he came in with a chaplain, and I was like, I told him, I was just saw him, and I was like, why did this happen? Does Hashem hate me? And he looked at me, and he started crying. My husband rarely cries, if ever. And so and he was just telling me he doesn't hate you. That this just could happen to anybody. And for inside of me, I was like, well, it didn't just happen to me. It happened to me twice. Why does this happen to me again? And even worse, I almost died. I was just inside of me. I was just so much anger, and so much sadness, and I felt so bad. And then if you flash forward, when I got out of the hospital, I was going through this period of depression, because I came out from one way, and I came out a different way. I came out with, I had to take a lot of medication. I have to change my entire life. I just had a child, and I can't function. I couldn't literally cannot function. I had to be in bed. I went to the ER twice after I came out of the hospital, and because my blood pressure was going like boom again, and I was like, it was like terrible. And so going to the cardiologist, I was like, and I kept thinking, I'm young. Why am I here? Like, why on earth am I here? And there's people who are much older than I am, and they're having, heart issues and having all this, and I'm having this. Why am I going through this? And I was like, this anger kept building, and then it got to a point when it actually disconnected me from as a mother to my children. I was like, I couldn't deal with it. I couldn't deal with like the whole process and the whole trauma, because I would get like kind of flashbacks of like being in the hospital at those moments, and it was very traumatic, and I wouldn't get those, and I just couldn't function, and I had to go back to my room because I couldn't function. I couldn't, relate with all my kids, and I was like, what? So it took me like a whole process of 6 months, and not just my body healed very quickly, but my mind and my soul and everything, and my emotions. It took so long to get some sense of peace. And so I encountered another a friend of mine, which is a really good friend of mine, and she has a child, and her child has Down syndrome, and she's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful child. And so we just clicked and talked, and then I told her, hey, what about if we did a magazine? Because I had this thing in my heart that I wanted to help others and get that message out there saying, take care of yourself. Life can change. Take care of yourself. That was my initial message that I wanted to give. So, and then she was like, first said no, and then she said, okay, let's do it. So we did it, and it just took off. Like, it was a boom. It was like, oh my gosh, like, I never thought it would like take off this big. And I was like, oh my God. And okay, let's just, and then just go with it. And then we published the first edition, and it did really well. And especially right now, the presence of the magazine it's getting big, and it's just such a bracha from Hashem. But and then one of my writers, she's like an amazing. I don't think she's here. She was here, but she's not anymore. Benina, she mentioned Miriam. And I was like, oh, I want to introduce you to her. Like, yeah, of course. So we introduced to each other, and we just like, it was like, it just clicked. It's just like, oh, wow. We just like very much like in many, many, many ways. And I just saw myself in her. And like, oh my gosh. And then, but I kept this kind of, this heaviness. I can't explain it. It's kind of like a really heaviness, really strong heaviness that is kind of like this constant pressure on your chest. And it's like, I had this as I was very young, like constant, like, emotional depression and, like, just like the cycle. And then I just kept it as like a long lost bully that is always there, and it's just here. And I just kept it there. And it was a bunch of stuff. There was your anger and depression and sadness and a lot of things. And it just stayed there. And it always felt this, always pressure in my heart, and always like this. And like always, and it was in my throat and my heart and my chest area. And I was like, and then I think I got sick. I got sick, and I called Miriam. I'm very sick, Miriam. I don't feel well. And because, and another thing, I told her, I want to get out of this. I want to get out and not have this medication. Because I was even told, like, the medication, shortens your lifespan. And people with heart issues and high blood pressure, the lifespan is short. It's shorter than others. And I was just terrified. And I was like, what am I going to do? Like, I want to raise my kids. I want to be here for them. I want to be healthy. But, the medications, I cannot have this medication for my whole life. Because I was reading, like, all the side effects, memory loss, shortening of lifespan, eyesight, and, like, 100 million side effects of the medications. And I was freaking out. I was, how am I going to do? And I told Miriam, I want to get out of this. I want to stop taking those medications. And she mentioned, Nechama, and I went with her. And we had a session. It was like life-changing entirely. I was already, on board with CBTT, of course. And I talked to her, and I was like, oh my gosh, what just happened? Because right after I had the session, like that heaviness in my heart that I always felt, it was gone. It was not there anymore. The way that I related with my kids, it was different. It was like not, I didn't feel that kind of distance that I had with them, this kind of invisible thing that my emotions couldn't like get through. It was not that there anymore. And I could actually really truly open up myself to them. And before I had the session, I mean, CBTT was already changing my life. I mean, I was changing my marriage, was changing even the way I relate with Hashem. I was actually davening with, the intention. I was studying. I was like going like a mad woman. I was like, just like, hey, here it is. I knew that it was the answer. But, I had to meet, I met Nehama, and she's just like, it was like the puzzle piece that was needed for me to like take off. And so obviously I'm not fully cured yet. I'm almost there, I think. I'm not sure. But I'm still taking medication. But B'ezrat Hashem, that will change soon. And we'll get my body back. Because a lot of times I really cannot function with the medication. It's really tough. And so, but, B'ezrat Hashem, he just gives me the energy. I don't know how. But I just doing a lot of things with Miriam, and it's been beautiful. So anyway, I mean, CBTT for me is like it has actually woken up something that was just dormant in me, and this kind of like childlike clinging to Hashem thing that most people should have, and I think is pretty much dormant in a lot of people. That that people need to go back to that and cling to Hashem like as if it were a child losing a parent, and so that's just back. I just like waking up really early in the morning, which even when medication is truly hard to do that because it takes like energy out of you, and up in the morning, I'm trying my best to go and daven, and sometimes I can't do it, but that's okay because it's not that the intention is not there, it's because my body's not fully there. So I'm being patient with myself, my own body, my own limitations, and my current limitations, of course, and I'm hoping that will change very soon. But like my creativity is different. I mean, I had my creativity was like blocked. I couldn't I'm a creative person. I cannot, for my essence, I cannot stop creating something. If not, I'll go crazy. Seriously, I'll go crazy. If I'm not doing something with my hands or creating or doing something, I'll go crazy. So, but before then, I just lost it. For many years, I just lost that. I was not creating anything, and I just felt like I lost myself entirely. Because that's part of me. That's who I am. I think I'm kind of like between water and earth element. I'm between one of those, and I'm extremely creative. And I just realized that I can't lose it because I will lose myself. And there's something that was Hashem who gave that to me. And with Posh, that helped take off that part of me to let it grow again, let it open up again. But with Miriam, it was like, boom. It was like, oh, it's out. So it's like, oh my gosh. It's like, and every day I wake up, okay, and I keep thinking of things, and my mind is really hard to quiet down because of that. Like, okay, I have to quiet down. I have to stay put, and not. And I'm like an energy, energizer bunny. I just go, and yeah. And so I have to right now I have to level myself and balance, just find the balance that I had to calm down and balance it out in every single aspect. I'm still learning, and to align myself. But CBTT, it's just really really is like the answer to a lot of people's prayers. It's just to me, it's like no question about that. Because I went through a psychologist, I went through psychiatrist, I did all that. None of that. It's not that the psychiatrist doesn't say for people who actually need it at some point. That actual necessity for that truly needed. But for most cases, CBTT is the answer is right there. You know, Hashem gives you the blueprint. It's right there. The
Yes.
Torah is right there, and you know, it really, it's not just about, you know, how, you know, when in therapy, you just like have like another friend is telling you, just hearing it, you know, just hearing back to you, or when you're saying to them, it's like, okay, what do you think about that? And it's like, hey, well, I don't know. I'm telling you, I'm trying to tell you something to resolve something, but you tell me what to think about that. It's like, what? I'm telling you to help me resolve what I think, and you tell me what I think about that. So I'm like, I came out the same, maybe I'm more confused than I went in. It's like, you're taking my money, I'm more confused. Me is like, you know, and then CBTT is like, and one, like, 3-4 times that we spoke with Miriam, it's like, oh my gosh, oh, it just makes sense. And then I went to watch her videos, like, oh my gosh, this is the answer to everything I've been like still wondering about so many years. Oh my gosh, it's like, oh yeah, Eureka. So and there was an actual change in the behavior. There's a difference between CBTT and regular, you know, psychology and, you know, therapy. They don't actually give you the answer or the tools necessary for you to actually make a change and a lifelong change. They don't give it to you. But CBTT does, because it comes from Hashem. And the action gives you, like, what is it that you need to do? So 1, 2, 3. That's it. So, and, you know, with my child, I mean, my son and my children, even when my son was in his spectrum, it's just he's like different. He is like, he actually told me, Mama, I know I love Auntie Mimi. He's telling me like, hey, Mama, let's read, you know, let's get out of the goldfish. You know, he's like, they're both really great, and they're both listening to, you know, the brain train videos, and they're just getting it. It's like amazing. And the way that I have not actually been able to get to them to actually understand what I'm, you know, it's the point that being nice and how they fight each other, and I just go, okay, break train time. Until I go, hey, let's explain to them. And then my son, my middle son, who is like,
Oh, if someone can mute.
hold on.
1 second.
And so my son, my middle son is like, he's like such a beautiful soul. He loves Hashem deeply. He loves learning. But he has a little bit of an issue. He's like fire. He's like had a fire temperament. And so, but he loves learning. He loves Hebrew. He loves it. And so when he got the goldfish, he was like, Mama, there's a Torah inside. There's a Torah. Look at that, Mama, Hebrew, Mama. And I was like, yes, baby, yes. But he has this thing that he gets exasperated quickly, or he gets upset, or he sometimes speaks on his brother, and just like, oh, okay. And I just started talking to him, you know, like, you know, Miriam and the videos and everything, and there's a change. And he gets it. And like, wow, this is awesome. Like, yay, I got to my child. Yeah, so like,
Baruch Hashem.
Baruch Hashem. And I've been struggling with him for a while, and then Baruch Hashem. You know, it's amazing. You know, it's amazing, like, the work that, you know, that Miriam's doing is like, it's really groundbreaking, but at the same time, it's still simple. And it's easy, and it's simple. You don't have to pay $1,000 or more of a lifelong, you know, therapy, you know, session with, you know, a psychologist, which is like, you know, it takes away a lot of your income. So, especially now with COVID. So, so anyway, that, you know, that is it. I'm really happy. I'm still in the process, and I'm still learning. It's going to take time in the beginning stages of it, but I'm like, if it's the beginning stages, I'm like, and so anyway, if you need any help, just like always come to me. Right now, I'm like really under the weather. You know, I was scared I was going to be coughing. But anyway, you can, you know, text me, or, you know, I had my Facebook profile. All the time I was there. It's like my workplace. So, and tab or and you can get me there. So love you all, and thank you for having me.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you for sharing your experience and the excitement and the passion and the love, and another neshama that just wants to help people and wants to share the experience and everything that you have gone through. May Hashem also bless you with a complete refuah shlema, and that that you really have the opportunity to freely and wholeheartedly, like you do, share your neshama and the spark of your light of Mashiach that is going to pave the way for a lot of more people. And I'm so happy I'm not alone in this, and that I have more people helping me to do this. As you all probably know, I have a nonprofit organization, and these people are on my team. And we are, many of us, learning these tools, as well as learning the dimensions therapy, like you had just mentioned about Nechama, because some cases, some people are either very physically not well and need help. Sometimes a person is not capable of doing their own work. You know, they're just almost catatonic, and they don't have the wherewithal to open their siddur and to meditate and to learn. And that's why I actually enrolled for this program myself to learn, because I was sending so many people to Nechama, and Nechama got so busy, and I'm like, I need more of my CBTT practitioners to also learn this. So, and then I got involved in learning this frequency thing, you know, so that we'll have many, Be'ezrat Hashem. Oh, are you okay? Be'ezrat Hashem. Yeah. That will have many opportunities to help in a holistic way. And that's what CBTT is all about. It's not just the one dimensional. It's not just, oh, you have to change your way of thinking. If your soul is not in your body, as the Gemara teaches us that when you wake up in the morning, your soul comes back in your body, barely. And through the words of prayer, you cleanse and purify your body so that the soul can actually reside in your body more fully. So if you're doing all the CBT without opening the door to your soul to use your fire, water, air, and earth element, then, hold on one second, I forgot to switch it here. Then what happens is you're only dealing with one aspect. I mean, some people have severe sleep disorders or even severe obsessions in their mind, and it's their diet. You know, so you have to look at that perspective. CBTT is a holistic perspective that it looks at every avenue of possible challenge that a person may be having. But the main thing is prayer, because you need to access your godly soul to be able to come out and then be able to use all your soul faculties. You know, if your essence of who you are is trapped and not capable of entering your body because you didn't prepare your body as a vessel to contain your soul, then the Yetzer Hara takes your fire, your water, your air, and your earth and uses it in the destructive way. And it's not complicated. That's what's so beautiful about it. Some people, they don't even go into the more deep meditative type of prayer. They just get into, just their prayer, and they're thinking about Hashem, and then they just learn Torah after, just in a very simple way. Feel so much different. And, I keep saying we got to get God back into the therapy room. We got to get our soul back into our body with this type of teaching. And if you just look at it from a neuropsychological perspective, and if you just even study neuroscience even a bit of how the brain, when not filled up with positivity, the brain's natural tendency is to ruminate and to obsess and to constantly, think over past issues, past traumas. It's just very normal for the brain to do that. CBTT says, fill up your mind. Fill up your mind with your soul powers, with your fire, your water, your air, your earth. Fill up your mind with your faculty of imagination, like soaking and drenching in positivity of the Torah's teachings. CBTT teaches us that your mind is your your driving force to be able to overcome your emotions. And again, if you look at it from a scientific perspective, it teaches us that our heart's emotion, which is part of our limbic part of our brain, works 3 to 4 times faster than our rational, logical mind. That's the natural order. We are emotional beings. Just like you see a little baby, they're super emotional. And yeah, they get a little older and a little less emotional to some extent, but sometimes they get even worse. They get even more angry or more rage or more sad or more depressed that they feel like they need medication because they're so super depressed or so super anxious. And so science teaches us that we can train our brain to go 3 to 4 times faster on the rational part and override the emotional. So that even though the natural order of our brain and heart connection is more leaning, like 75% or more on just reactions, emotions from all this heartfelt feelings, science does show that we can override and strengthen our mind to quiet the storm of our heart. So that our mind sholet al halev, moach sholet al halev. So when is the best time to fill your mind up? Well, guess what? When your godly soul is out in the open more, your godly soul mostly resides in your brain. Your animalistic tendencies, and this is coming from Tanya, mostly resides in your heart. So if your mind is not activated by your soul, then you will 3 to 4 times faster be more emotional. And it'll take over. And it'll ride over your mind and be like a dictator. Think this. Do that, feel this, and then you become captured, almost like hijacked completely, and overtaken. Now again, if you just pray and you redeemed yourself and you purified yourself and you made your body ready for your soul powers, and you created that space because of the melting away of all these barriers, then if you don't fill it up after with Torah learning, then it was kind of a bit of a shame, because you aroused all these emotions, right? You aroused all these positive emotions. But if you're not going to then pull in the divine light of God's wisdom, of God's Torah after, then the emotions can become very fragmented. They can be all over the place. They can, the water of Torah now then solidifies and kind of calms down the emotion. Like if there's just like a fire raging, you need the water to dissipate the fire. So these emotions are likened to like fire. And you need then the cool intellect of God's wisdom to harness and balance and cool off a bit these emotions. And that is the main ingredient. Now, the second ingredient to CBTT is, actually kind of like the third, right? You want to pray and meditate and deeply pray, because if you're just saying the words like this, you're not really using your brain, so it's not really as effective. And the Rebbe Rashab actually says that in Kuntrus Tefillah. You see people praying and learning 3 times a day, and yet they can be arrogant, and they could be, come back home and mistreat their wives, or they can, be really not emotionally balanced. It's the deep meditative prayers, and it's the deep meditative learning after, but it's also the way you eat. And I'm not going to go into so much detail because we're going to have more classes on that, and there are online, but the way you eat can also affect your brain and your body and your emotion. And I remember learning in Kuntrus Ha'aveda by the Rebbe Rashab that all negative character traits comes from the way you eat. So if you're trying to overcome your anger or your sadness and you're overindulging or eating wrong foods, then your emotions will get stronger and stronger. And so much so that it actually can cause extraneous thoughts and obsessions, and your mind becomes not clear. And then it's like a vicious cycle, because then your mind is so disturbed that it ends up causing disturbed feelings, because thoughts create emotions and emotions create reactions. And if you look at my book, which is like basically a CBTT, practitioner's guide, as well as being your own CBTT practitioner on yourself, I discuss these three aspects of the mind part, of really exercising your mind and strengthening it so it won't be mushy. And then I talk about the health part, which is the food part, and how you engage in the day-to-day aspects of your nutrition. And then the soul part of just allowing your soul to really be able to be in harmony with your body, which is the prayers and the learning. And I just feel sometimes that as much as I'm doing, I feel like, I've been doing this many years, and I feel like sometimes I'm not doing enough, and because I'm just one person. So I'm so happy, and I'm so open to sharing it all, because I think it's about time that we really put spirituality like as the main ingredient and the only ingredient to our healing. Now, yes, there are sometimes people are so not capable of doing this that they may need to have medication. Meaning if they're so delusional or they're so psychotic and they're so manic, and there's many different kinds of severe psychiatric clientele. But even those that were even on the border, like I almost felt like, oh my gosh, if they're just even a little there and they could just a little do some of the prayers and the learning, it's amazing. I hope one day some of the other people that experienced such a transformation, where the wives or the husbands saw such a transformation where they really were on the verge of like needing to go to a psych ward, God forbid, and they were able to get out of it because they were a bit there to hear, and they were a bit able to like do the prayers and the learning, that they got out of it. But some people are so far gone and they're so outside their body, as it were, that they need medication. I mean, we always try, the dimensions therapy, hopefully now with the frequency therapy, like to avoid that if we can. But even those people that were on medication and still they didn't feel themselves. They still felt like they just, their mind was all over the place. They just felt numb like a robot. They just felt so broken, like as if there's some kind of, damaged goods. And these, oh, hi. Oh, this is one of my young students. Thank you for saying hi. But that nothing was helping them for years and years and years. They were diagnosed with all these severe psychiatric problems. Got them to do this. I call it CBTT because it's just easy, but it's basically Torah, honestly. But it's the deep teachings of the Torah that gives us the answers of how to live our life like a recipe. Of, I need to do this, and then I need to do that, and then I realign myself. It's kind of like a chiropractic spiritual alignment in short. And even those most severe cases were like incredibly helped with this system of this alignment of their soul in their body, of this faculty of imagination that they have that is harnessed. And so people want to say, what is the CBTT? It's not so complicated. It's not so complicated. And that's why I can just easily coach people to say, get the people back to learning after they pray. Get the people back to praying more earnestly, more deeply, more real. Get their mind to be attached to Hashem. Get their soul to be back more in line with their body. Let them understand that they're high souls, that they're not damaged goods. They were gifted with a lot of fire, so they tend to have a lot of anxiety and anger and possibly panic attacks because they were gifted with so much fire. And as soon as they start this practice of allowing their soul to be back in their body, allowing their neshama to use the fire for awe and wonderment of Hashem, to be in fear of God, like Yitzchak Avinu, who had such a gift of a lot of fire, and Abraham, who had the gift of a lot of water. He was a chesedic man, and so someone who has addictions are so holy. They have so much water. They have so much like pleasure-seeking personality and so much love. That's their thing. That's why they're in an addiction situation, because they love. They love the pleasures of the world. They love escaping because they can't bear the pain. So someone who has a very earthy element, they've been gifted with a lot of earth, with a lot of creativity, with a lot of capabilities of contemplation and developing like more and more genius-like creativity, because they have a lot of earth. And so they use the earth in meditation and contemplation. They use their earth in slowness in the way they pray and slowness in the way they learn. And all of a sudden they find themselves not depressed. And so someone, again, and I think we said this earlier, they're not a broken, messed up person. They have a lot of holiness, and they just need to learn how to channel it. I remember when I first learned in Kuntras Umayan, the Rebbe Rashab said that all mental and emotional disorders comes from an abundance of light, which means they have a lot of either fire, water, air, earth, or they have a lot of faculty of imagination, and a paucity of vessel, meaning they didn't create the vessel to contain the light. So it shatters them, it shatters their mind, it shatters their heart, and they become seemingly psychologically damaged, or what have you. And this is a key to CBTT. You're not damaged goods. You don't have chemicals that are not aligned in your brain. Yeah, you might have a mushy mind. You might have such a empty mind because you're not filling it up with positivity, so it feels like your brain is broken. But no research shows that any chemicals are missing in these types of people who are suffering these kinds of disorders. They haven't pinpointed some missing chemical in the brain on these diseases. Okay, they might be low on B6 and B12. They could benefit from that. They might be, not sleeping enough, so their cortisol is kind of going high. Yeah, we have to take care of the physical. We have to take care of our body, and that's part of CBTT, the health part. Yes, we don't ignore it. It's not just, spiritual. If you're not sleeping and you're not eating, your brain becomes weak. And that's why sometimes people will go and do cognitive behavioral therapy without this, and nobody asks them, what are you eating? Nobody's asking them, how are you, living your physical life to help your brain become, stronger from the nutrition. Not just the lack of nutrition, but the overindulging in the types of food that can really play with your mind. Oh my gosh, so many books that I've read. We won't go there right now. That's a whole nother CBTT class. But just to since it's kind of our third or fourth gathering here today, you can look up on YouTube. There are some of my CBT courses there. If you want to be part of our group, I have a WhatsApp group where we post classes and information so that you can learn more about this. It's free. This is a SANE service, SANE, Save a Neshama endowment to help people more. And so that those who are tired of the system, tired of even being a counselor, not really having results with your clients as much as you would like, and feeling so pained and frustrated for them that you've been trying so many different things and it's not happening for them. This will give you extra guidance of how to help realign them with their true neshama. I put something together called Soul Solution Inner Conquest, and I've given a class on this before, but it's like a 4-page it says here, be your own CBTT practitioner, which is basically, a really short pamphlet that's discussed more in detail in my health and happiness book and also my prayer and meditation book. So if anyone who's interested, I will also forward you that. And it's really outlined very clearly. And I'll just even say, like, we go into the brain factor, the brain gym, how to deal with psychological and brain trauma, talking about other modalities. It can be, as a, not substituting, but as a supplementary processes that will help the brain like get healed faster, like craniosacral or neurofeedback or osteopath, which I highly recommend, and dimensions therapy, which I #1 right now recommend. And now even on top of that, the frequency treatments that you have in a little machine on the palm of your hand, and like you can really help your sleep and help your nerves calm. It's just been amazing. I just got it and been using it myself, and I found that the little that I used it was just so helpful. Those of you who know me, I've been for my whole life like into all these other things, and now I feel like I don't have to run outside to get a massage or outside. You should go get a massage and continue these other things, but sometimes you can't get the appointment, or now it's shut down, so now like you'll have it yourself. Please God, anyone wants any more information, I will you can PM me and I can give you the name of the woman who introduced me to it. Anyway, so back to this diet and different things you could do for your sleep and spiritual factors, and it just goes into detail. So you have it in a pamphlet, and like you can go through it and as like a checklist of what you can go, like a go-to list of what you can give your clients even, so they will understand in a very simplified way. Gosh, by the way, I don't know if she's still on here, and it's late now, but I didn't even look at the clock. I have to buy a big clock. That's my next next purchase. So I'm more on top of time. I can go on forever, but I hope what I have shared helped. And my friend and dear partner, Beis Chana, who I love dearly. We do a lot of programs together for her institute here in LA. If she is still on here, it's her birthday, and I thought maybe she would share some blessings with us and a little Tanya of the day. And I hope this found you well, and always from my heart to your heart. And B'ezrat Hashem, we'll hear more good news that we have the tools ourselves to self-heal. Yehudis, are you there? Is anyone still there? Let's see. Let me see. Again, CBTT stands for Cognitive Behavioral Torah Therapy, or Torah teachings, whatever you want to call it, but basically getting to that next level of healing. As I'm seeing if she's here, I'm seeing some, yes. Okay, I don't think, maybe she had to leave. But anyway, a beautiful evening. And remember the song we began with, I am who I am. There is a reason. There's a reason why I am who I am. There's a reason.
Before you go off, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, before we go off, one of the things that I'm trying to figure out, because I don't really know that much of Chabad Hasidus. Do you really need to be learning Chabad, or can you learn a different Hasidus, or how do you, because I know you're not supposed to really learn Tanya on your own because it's very complicated.
Well, first of all, that's an excellent question, and I did want to address it because the deepest part of the Torah, which is Chassidut, helps the deepest part of your neshama come out. And the reason why now more than ever we have been privy to this kind of knowledge in Tanya and Chassidus, what used to be like hidden away for the 36 tzaddikim, is because we're so close to the ultimate redemption that we're in this process of really getting to that amazing healing. You know, like when the Jewish people were hearing the Torah for the first time on Mount Sinai, there was such a healing. So this now remedy is given to us as we're in the beginning stages of walking across the threshold of leaving the exile into the Geula, please God. So the understanding is that the deepest teachings of the Torah helps get the deepest part of our soul out of its imprisonment. And true, it's best to learn, with other people, especially if you're just in the beginning. I have a chat every day. I do Hayom Yom, I do Tanya of the day, and I do love languages every day. So those of you who want to join, I'll put you on so that you're not alone learning it. There's so much on every website across the face of this earth. It's amazing what's available out now, like this drops and drops of seas of oceans worth of the waters of Torah. But if you want to join my part of what I'm trying to do to help, more than happy to include you. So for those who, can't do that, then any Torah after prayer is good. But definitely good is good and better is better. So the deeper teachings of the Hasidus, if you could do that, then all the better. And the key point is to speak the words of what you're learning. So many people just hear the classes and it's amazing. And when you hear Torah, it does inspire your godly soul and you are on fire. It really does give you almost oxygen. And then you close the book and then you snap at your husband or you have no patience for your neighbor. I don't know. It happened to all of us. Where did the inspiration go? What's going on? Because when you're learning deep teachings of Torah even, it's igniting your godly soul. But nothing was done to fix your animal soul. Nothing was done to fix your heart of your anger, your arrogance, your sadness. So that's why you need to open your heart up through prayer so that the Torah learning can come into your heart and banish all the darkness. So that the fire and the water and the air and the earth, won't take you over. And that the light of God's wisdom after praying with speaking the words. And the Alter Rebbe brings down the point of speaking because your breath is God's breath. Because these are the words of Torah. So when you use your breath, it's kind of like a cooling effect on the negative passions. It becomes like an aura of Gan Eden around you. Every word, even though you can't see it, just like Chas v'Chalila, what's going on in the world, you can't see, and look what damage it's doing. So you can't imagine what good is happening when the words are being effused out of you, and it's creating a protection of Gan Eden around you. You can't even imagine, when you speak the words of Torah, I learned it, you access higher levels of wisdom beyond your own mental capacity. That's why Alter Rebbe says the time of prayer is moichin de gadlus. It's a time where your brain, literally, and your spiritual powers of your mind expands through the power of the words you're saying in tefillah. So if you're not really saying the words, or you're not even moving your lips, not so much is happening. That's why people 3 times a day could pray and learn, but they're not really doing it in this most precise manner. Then it doesn't really effectuate a change. It is not as healing, or maybe not even healing at all. As the Rebbe Rashab says, it actually can be a poison. A person can become more arrogant because they're so knowledgeable, and they know this and they know that. And we know a lot of people that they're so arrogant with what they know because it just stayed here. It didn't penetrate into their heart. So just praying barely, because you're robotically doing it because you have to, that's not a fire. And that doesn't open up your heart. And this is the key. This is the key to our redemption. And we're sitting on it. In this generation, Hashem has given us the key. And now we just have to use it. And I give a mashal of a key, like one of my brain training classes for kids, you'll see a treasure box. Imagine you have a key to a treasure box, but you don't have the key to the door. So the Torah learning is a key to your treasure box, but you need the key to open the door. And the heart needs to be open. And so prayer has to be done with fire, hopefully, with more enthusiasm, with more pleasure, with more meditation, with more words, with more song, with more clapping even, dancing, and then your heart is opened. And then the key to the treasure box you can open, which is the tree of the learning of the Torah. And then you don't want to then bury the treasure again. And that's where the food comes in. If you end up overeating, then you bury what you just were so privileged to redeem. So much more to talk about this. But if you only heard this class, and you only read my book, or go on my YouTube channels on Brain Train for Children, that many women have said that it has helped them too, or the YouTube channel, it's all there. It's available. I'm just opening the doors for you to hopefully get access to it so that you can be a better practitioner if you're interested. And if not, even to be a better mother or a better spouse or a better parent. This will help you realign yourself to the true you. And don't let the Baba Maisa of thinking that all your past traumas has damaged you. No. If you look at the great tzaddikim, Avram, what did he go through? He had a terach, murderous father. Lech lecha. He was able to go to the true self of who he really is. We all have a chelek elokai mamash behind. The first thing is the house of your father, which is the trauma. You did not get love. You were abused, God forbid. You can leave that behind. Your godly soul is there. It's whole and complete. Just open the door. Let it out. Second, leave you can leave their birthplace, which happens to be the birth of your nature. You were born with a fiery temperament. You were born with the angry, fiery baker's oven-like fiery temperament. You can leave that behind because you're going to channel it and you're going to be such a gadol. You're going to be so like Yitzchak with so much awe and wonderment of Hashem. You were born with fire more or air more or earth. You can leave that behind because you're going to channel it. And the land has to do with Eretz, which is larutz, like you're running and escaping. You got into habits because you can't cope with life. You could break your habits. You're not imprisoned from any of these things. You're free to be the real you. And CBTT, call it that. It's catchy, but it's really basically the deep teachings of the Torah that's giving you the recipe to help you spiritually realign yourself to the truth of who you really are. I must go. I will be back again. I am so thankful to Hashem that I have a teamwork of people here helping me do it, not just me. I'm not looking for more clients, I promise you. That's why I started an organization with 70 clients and more, counselors and more, because I'm just one person. I'm looking to enlighten others, and that's what I'm all about. But if you have an emergency and you can't find someone, you can reach out to me. I'll do my best. But please reach out to Deborah, reach out to Hannah, reach out to other people because they're there also for you. Bezrat Hashem. Love you all. Thank you for joining, and we will meet again. This is a good start, and we will continue on this path.
Thank you.
Thank you for your question. Very important question. Bye-bye, everyone.